Welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs podcast. Today is Saturday, July 10th. It's episode number 33 from season 2. We are your hosts, Dan and Andy. Andy, how are you doing today?
Good. Just yesterday, the countdown began here at our house.
Countdown for what?
A year from yesterday, young miss, my oldest daughter gets married.
Yes, that's right.
So, yes. The countdown has begun.
Next year.
We're going to start a GoFundMe page to pay for this wedding. Please send checks and cash.
Well, yes. We'll be able to plug the wedding here on the
yes, shows. Sponsored by. Yes.
So that's coming up. Oh, the countdown will be on. The time will fly.
Oh, yes.
The time will fly. So we're on episode 33. We're in the middle of the baseball season's officially halfway point. All-Star game is Tuesday. And I'm sure you've got lots to cover with your end of the sports. But we'll kick it off with the trivia question.
Yes.
The trivia question is this. At the beginning of the Major League Baseball season, the Minnesota Twins had a plethora of outfielders. In fact, I did a midweek broadcast show specifically on the overabundance of outfielders the Twins had. Now, because of all the overabundance of Twins outfielders in the prospects and upcoming in the minors and the majors, they decided to trade one of them to the San Francisco Giants in exchange for pitching that we needed. Now, that player right now is getting lots of playing time at the big league level for the Giants, who are the best team in Major League Baseball right now, the Giants. The question is, who is that player? Name that player that we traded. Because we have too much outfielders. Now, the funny thing is, we have no outfield now. It's all depleted. Everyone's hurt, and we could use this individual. Who hits for both average and power.
And so, if it's who I think it was, he was a fan favorite too.
I think so. So that'll be the question. Go ahead and look it up if you need to, the viewers out there. But let's get rolling with sports updates.
Yes, here we go. We will start here with our happy little stuff here. Get my buttons all pushed. Get all set here. Big drum roll. Here we go. All right. Going to start off, Lucas Hoyer, local kid here, Minnesota boy, highest ranked football recruit in the state of Minnesota, won't be suiting up for the Gophers. In fact, he's not even playing in the Big Ten at all. As you can see here, he signed with the Stanford Cardinal. 6'5", 307-pound lineman from St. Paul. So he'll be going to the Stanford Cardinal this year. So another local boy we lost to recruiting for football, but we'll see how this turns out later. Good luck to him on his career, to young Mr. Lucas there. A little hockey news here. The WCHA released the hockey. Bloomington, Minnesota, press release. My little fat fingers here I hold. July 2nd, 2021. Representatives of the University of Anchorage, Alaska, and University of Anchorage, Fairbanks recently voted to cease operations with the men's league and the Western Collegiate Hockey Association as a result of the departure of 8 league members over the last 2 years. The vote to cease all men's team operations will be effective July 1, 2021. You can see the full press release at the WCHA website. They are folding up shop. The decision comes following the departure of 7 WCHA programs. Bemidji State University, Bowling Green State University, Ferris State University, Lake Superior State University, Michigan Technical University, Minnesota State University, and Northern Michigan University. For the revived Central Collegiate Hockey Association next season, the University of Alabama in Huntsville was granted their request to depart the league earlier this summer. The WCHA will continue to have their women's program, though. So as far as men, they're going to the CCHA. There is no more WCHA, which we try to cover the local college hockey a lot here now. So bear with us next year, because now that we finally start getting the hang of college hockey, they're changing it all on us. So work with us here, be patient with us, and don't laugh. We're doing our best, kids. So here we go. So just watch for that for WCHA. All that's changing for next year. Maybe some new rivalries. We won't have Huntsville, Alabama to play anymore, but we'll see what happens. NASCAR coming up this weekend. Let's just go through the standings real quick here. I said top 16 make it. Here's a list of 13 guys. You win, you're in. If not, it's based on points. So if you see it, for those of you watching it on YouTube and that, the far right of the screen plus a 0, that means they've qualified with a win. Also, a little asterisk by their name does that too. But you look at Denny Hamlin. He's 4th. He's got enough other places, enough seconds and thirds and fourths where he's all but in. Him and Harvick are all but in. They're the top 13 spots there. And you see the big gold line there at 16, 17. That's the cutting point. Chris Bouchard, 25 points out. Russ Chastain, 69 out. Stenhouse Jr., 70. Show favorite Matt DiBenedetto, 74 out. There's the rest of the names, some other names you might recognize. Wallace, Daniel Suarez, Ryan Newman. So NASCAR heating up again. Gets kind of fun now. Big track race this weekend. Or last weekend. Chase Elliott wins that one. Blows a tire after he wins. So they changed tire on the track to get his car to victory lane. You should go back and see that video if you didn't. Lots of Major League Baseball stuff. We'll just head right into the standings first before we get all the other fun things going on. American League East. Boston with a 2.5 game lead over Tampa. Toronto and the Yankees 9 out. Yankees are still the Yankees. I'm never going to ever count them out just because, again, they're the Yankees. And they're 9 out in the division, but 3.5 in the wild card. You see the wild card standings there. Now's when you kind of start watching that number 2 after the All-Star break. Central. Cleveland, who, again, this week was no hit. Tampa Bay threw a team no-hitter against Cleveland this week in the 7-inning game. So baseball won't count that either. But they're 2-8 in their last 10 games and dropped to 7.5 out. The White Sox are kind of, I don't want to say in cruise control here, but looking pretty good. So there we go. Twins are not in the basement anymore right now. They've won 2 in a row. Things are beautiful. AL West, Houston, Oakland, Seattle's hot right now, 6-4. The Angels 7-3 in their last 10. Yeah, again, 9 out in the lead, but 4.5 in that wild card. That wild card race is getting really fun to watch here pretty soon. We'll start tracking that more exclusively here in a few weeks. Let's go to the National League. Soon to be World Series champions Mets, 4.5 ahead in the East. Everybody playing really well right now in the East there, except for the Washington. Thank God. Miami 5-5, but they're just the Marlins. Yeah, they're out of it, but that's not a guaranteed win all the time. They're just a little pesky little team down there. So kind of what the Twins are doing right now. You can't guarantee it as a win, but you never know. The Mets are sitting good. They've caught up on a lot of their games played these last few weeks, like we talked about a couple weeks ago. A lot of their makeup games from the beginning of the season. So they're getting pretty close to where they're supposed to be for total games played. Central, the Cubbies, I don't know what happened to them. I don't know. They threw that no-hitter against the Dodgers, then proceeded to lose 11 straight games after that. And the Dodgers won 10 in a row after that. So getting back to our win 10 games, win the division thing. I think there's 4 teams that have done that now this year. But the Reds slowly picking it away, 7-3, 6 games out. We said weeks ago, watch the Cincinnati Reds. And here's the West. There's the Dodgers 2 games out. The Giants, like I said, best record of baseball. And the Padres are sticking around there too, 4 out. They got the other wild card spot. Just, everybody kind of wrote them off thinking, oh, well, one more year for them. And no, they're doing pretty good. And the Colorado Rockies are 6-4 in the last 10. I think as the All-Star game gets closer, the hype locally that helps you a little bit. You get excited for that, being the host city. And Arizona, who's already started releasing players and trading players. So watch for a lot of players coming to your favorite team where we'll say underneath their former Arizona Diamondback. Here's our league leaders for the National League we'll start with. Batting average, home runs, and RBI are the 3 they talk about when they talk for the Triple Crown. Fernando Tatis is first in home runs, tied for first in RBIs. Not up there for batting average, so I don't see the National League having a Triple Crown winner this year. Adam Frazier is doing well. He's got up there for batting average. Justin Turner is doing okay. But again, no one's really kind of hitting it all over the place where they're going to get a Triple Crown out of the deal. Pitching stats for the National League. Jacob deGrom leads for ERA and strikeouts, of course. And Trevor Bauer of the Dodgers, third in strikeouts. We'll talk about him later on. Having a good year. Zach Wheeler is up there for Zach Wheeler's only one strikeout behind deGrom, and of course, shows like us talk about nothing but deGrom. Zach Wheeler. Keep an eye on him too. He's got a really nice career coming up. Max Scherzer is up there for K's again, like usual. So the usual cast of characters and all these stats for the National League, really not blowing anyone away there. Josh Harder of the Dodgers, or of the Brewers, I'm sorry, second in saves at 21. He's going to have a nice career too. Watch him. American League could have a Triple Crown. We got Vlad Guerrero leading an average at 340, 73 RBIs, and he's 5 home runs behind Ohtani, who, I don't know. I'm not on the Ohtani bandwagon yet. I'm reluctant. I don't know why. There's something, I don't know. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. But Vlad could catch him. He's streaky too. Excuse me. Ohtani had a nice little 10-game streak there with a bunch of home runs. Vlad hits one of those. We very possibly could have an American League Triple Crown winner this year.
Did Andy?
Yes.
Question about Ohtani. Did you hear the stat? He had his 33rd home run, which broke the record for most home runs in a season by a Japanese player, former Japanese player, and that record was 32, and that's over an entire season. He's got it before the All-Star break. That's just amazing. Like you said, it's
and the guy for the Yankees who hit it, he was a decent home run hitter too. Just this year, they're just popping for Ohtani, so we'll see. We shall see. Bo Bichette is some of his offensive numbers are for hits. He's a nice young player to watch too. Keep an eye on him. American League pitchers. Liam Hendricks of the White Sox leads in saves. Former Oakland A, former Australian Baseball League player, Liam Hendricks. I think he had a cup of coffee with the Twins too at one time.
Yes.
22 saves leading the league there. Oh, and I don't think he made the All-Star game, but we'll get into that later. There's our earned run average. Lance Lynn at 1.99. But again, all the talks about deGrom. Kyle Gibson, 2.29. A lot of nice ERAs over there in the American League. And Garrett Cole at 291 for ERA, fifth. Still leads in Ks. But all you hear about is how he's having trouble since he can't put sticky stuff on the ball anymore. And yet he still leads in Ks and is top 5 in ERA. So either he had that great a start or he's just still that good. He's just got to get used to not having to grip him stuff. Speaking of all-stars, here's the American League starters. There you see Vlad Guerrero at first. Ohtani at DH. This is the thing that gets me here, and this isn't a rip on Ohtani. As you watch the starters, they vote for DH in the American League, even though they're using the DH, they don't vote for DH in National League. Why not just award your top vote getter non-position player as your starting DH for both leagues, just to make it even that way? The reason you can't is because in the American League, you have guys like Nelson Cruz who only DH. You can't list him as a first baseman. So there's that. I know Buxton was in the running for outfield. He did not make it. So he is not a starter replaced type situation. So there's that. The reserves, there you see. And here's the other thing. They could have listed Buxton as a reserve. He's having a decent season. He had the votes. Listed him as a reserve and then sub him out. But again, another argument for another day. You see Altuve on there. And you see, was it Brantley or the other Astros? They said they're not going to play. I don't know if that's because of injury, because they don't want to be ridiculed by fans. I don't know what. As of I found this, they still had him listed as a reserve, although they've been saying they're not going to go. We'll see. There you see Bo Bichette at shortstop, the reserve. Altuve would have been his 7th. You see Michael Brantley, his 5th, but a lot of first-time All-Star guys on there too, which is kind of nice to see. And Nelson Cruz being the Twins representative there, his 7th All-Star game. I think Cruz has played 48 years or something like that. He's been around for a while. Pitchers. Oh, Liam Hendricks is on there, his 2nd, but again, why he didn't get more fanfare for it, he just kind of quietly makes it in there. A lot of except for Chapman, a lot of, again, first time, second time guys. Garrett Cole, his fourth. First American League one, though. So it's nice to see fresh blood there.
Now, speaking of fresh blood, if you take a look at the American League pitching roster for the All-Star game,
yep,
1/4 of it is former Twins players.
Yes.
Wow. A quarter of the roster for the All-Star team for the American League this season is made up of former Twins pitchers.
Yep.
That's amazing. And you know what? Tiny got it as well. Got in as a pitcher and a DH.
Yep. That's the other thing. Yeah, he's taking up 2 spots. You need one guy from each team. I got a little problem with that. And again, maybe it's it's not because I don't like the guy. Either you make it as a pitcher or a DH, not both. Because if we're supposed to have a guy from each team, okay, now you just took a roster spot from someone else who maybe you hear all the snubs that should have made it. Which, to me, don't call it a snub. Oh, this guy had better stats. He should have made it. When for every All-Star game, baseball, football, basketball, they listed as vote for your favorite. It's a popularity contest game, not an All-Star game. But I don't think you should have been able to vote for both, do one or the other. But that's that. Here's National League starter, Buster Posey in again at catcher. Freddie Freeman, he's going to be at first base till he retires. That's his position to lose. Fernando Tatis finally made it there for the Padres. I think this is going to be your National League All-Star roster for a while. I really do. A lot of good players there. Adam Frazier's having a great year. All these guys that's going to be your National League All-Star roster for a while. Mark my words. Here's their reserves. Not too surprising there. I mean, Kyle Schwarber made it for the Nationals. Why? I don't know. I think it's because he got hot with the home runs recently. That's it. Soto's in there for the Nationals. He should have been. But Turner for the Nationals at shortstop. He's kind of going to get the whole, like Tony Fernandez did in the American League back in the 80s. He's always going to be – he's the third best shortstop in all of baseball, but he's also the third best shortstop in the American League because he was stuck there with all the other greats at the time. So you'll see him maybe get a start every now and then, but he'll always be there, I think. Mookie Betts made it as a reserve, 5th time. Chris Bryant, soon to be New York Met, Chris Bryant. Little Bird's telling me the Mets are talking to him for trade.
Nice.
So keep that in mind. Don't be buying too many Chris Bryant Cub jerseys lately. He might not be there at the end of the year. If not to the Mets, he will be gone. Mark my words. Pitchers for the American League. Yu Darvish, 5th time for the Padres. deGrom was locked it in or told announced as a starter. And same with Brandon Woodward for the Brewers. Both are opting out because of injury, and also just deGrom doesn't want to because he's got some nagging stuff. He just doesn't want to tweak it. He's starting the Sunday before the All-Star game, so it would not work in his rotation for him. So TJ Walker for the Mets is going in for him, and Freddie Patero for the Brewers is filling in for Woodruff. So that's their subs. Craig Kimbrell of the Cubs, 8th All-Star appearance. He's that guy with that goofy stance and the stick him on his side of his hand that he denies. But look at that, 3 Brewer pitchers on there. So nice, congratulations to that pitching staff. And Trevor Rogers of the Marlins gets his first. Reyes of the Cardinals his first. So there's some other nice names you might see on there a lot, I think, coming up. Speaking of Jacob deGrom, it's time for my weekly Jacob deGrom love fest here. I wouldn't be saying this about any pitcher if they're throwing these numbers up. Just here's some stats for deGrom recently. Back on July 1st, he started pretty bad in that game, but finished strong with 18 strikeouts July 1st against the Braves. With 18 consecutive batters retired. He also enjoyed a stretch of strikeouts of 8 consecutive batters, which is something he's done 4 times in his career. The only other pitcher in Major League history to do that more than once is Nolan Ryan, and he did it twice. I thought for sure it would have been like Clemens or Gooden or Ryan with multiples. No. So this is just lightning in a bottle for deGrom this year. Not saying he's not a great pitcher, but just the stars are aligned for him. If you get a chance to see this guy pitch this year, you've got to do it. July 7th in the Brewers in Game 1, deGrom struck out his 1,500th batter in his 198th career start on Wednesday. Second fastest pitcher to reach that mark in Major League history, Yu Darvish, set the record with his 197th career game, which they both broke the record held by Hall of Famer Randy Johnson, who did it in 206 games. So he's already that far. Yeah. And Yu Darvish, like we just said, all-star game again. So he's a great pitcher, great career going for him. Good company to be in there for Mr. deGrom. Some other deGrom notes on stats this year. A .54 whip, which is the lowest of any pitcher in a 15-start span since 1901. 146 Ks. He's allowed just 39 hits this season. The only pitcher since 1901 with more than 140 strikeouts and fewer than 40 hits. He's allowed just 11 earned runs in 15 starts, along with his 146 Ks. He's one of two pitchers since earned run became an official stat with 140 Ks and fewer than 15 earned runs allowed in 15 games span. The other guy, Johan Santana in 2004. And he's holding opposing hitters to a 126 batting average, again, the lowest for a 15-game start since 1901. Here's his ERA path. Dutch Leonard holds the record from 1914 with a .79 ERA at this point, .96 to finish it. But again, that was a real dead ball era. Everybody could add asterisks to it. Bob Gibson, the year of the pitcher in 1968, finished with a 1.12. Most recently, the best, Doc Gooden in 85, a 1.53. Currently, deGrom's at a 1.08 ERA. More Major League Baseball stuff now. Trevor Bauer, like we said earlier. Been a tough couple weeks for him. We're trying to get into the political stuff, but just let you know what's going on with the poor guy here. If you remember, he's reigning Cy Young Award winner. Mets almost got him, but he went for the Dodgers. Less money, but went to the Dodgers. So this could have been a circus in New York. You think the media's bad in LA. If this guy would have landed with the Mets and this happened, dear God, what the media would have done. Back in the state, he was scheduled to start one day for the Dodgers last week. He tried to enter Nationals Park to pitch and was physically restrained by security. He screamed. He eventually had to cry as security forced him to drag him away. The Dodgers also had bobblehead night for him, and they've taken that off the schedule. And here's the one that I don't want to say bothers me, confuses me. Justin Turner, Kenley Jensen, Chris Taylor, Mookie Betts, Max Mercier, Albert Pujols, and Dustin May all unfollowed the Dodgers teammate on Instagram. I have a tough time believing those guys personally check Instagram every day. I'm sure there are people said, hey, you might want to follow him. It's not cool. So when they say those accounts unfollowed him, yeah, say those accounts did. I have a tough time believing Albert Pujols checks his Instagram daily and decides who he's going to follow and not follow. That's me. Speaking of Mr. Albert, hit another milestone, 6,000 total bases. His career stats just keep going up and up and up. You could say it about Jeter. You could say it about Mariano Rivera. Albert Pujols is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And he probably won't get 100% either because no one ever will, because there's going to be some old crudgety curmudgeon out there from St. Louis who's still mad at him that won't vote him in. Speaking of trade offers for the Mets, another name coming up to the Mets possibly is Josh Donaldson of the Twins. That name has come up in Mets conversations for third base. Also, another one for the Mets, Jose Barrios for a couple prospects. So the Mets have signed some other free agent pitchers for the minor league contracts coming up. Teams like that, if you look at Major League Baseball's website, you can see transactions. Lots of players picking up pitchers, or teams, picking up pitchers right now. Some teams are in contention, some that aren't, but like the Twins. I've seen they've signed some pitchers to minor league deals because the Twins are a good team. This is just a bad year for them. Things just aren't lining up. So they're kind of planning for next year already, knowing that they should be better and will be better. So a trade like this. Okay, let's get rid of Barrios, end of a contract. We'll pick up a couple prospects. Let's see what happens. Speaking of the Twins, former Twin fan favorite Chip Hale, who was a coach with the Arizona Diamondbacks, has left the Diamondbacks and hired as a new head coach at his alma mater there in college. So he will be coaching college baseball again now. Congratulations to Coach Hale. NBA, Milwaukee and Phoenix in it. Torrey Craig is going to get a ring no matter what because of rules in sports. He started the season with Milwaukee, got traded to Phoenix halfway through the year. Because he was with Milwaukee long enough, he would qualify for a ring if they won it. Or if Phoenix wins, he gets a ring. So he's getting a ring no matter what. It's just, it'd be nice to be on the winning team to get one. And speaking of that, Bucks haven't won a title since 71. Phoenix never has. And there's no player on either team, active roster, with an NBA championship. And that is just killing ESPN. They can't stand that. I love it that they can't stand it because to me, it's fun to watch. You know it's going to be all new blood. It wasn't some super team put together by a bunch of all-stars. Chris Paul's had a long career. He's never had an NBA championship. I don't think he's ever been in the finals. Giannis, great young player. He's finally in the finals. So let's see what happens. It's nice to see fresh meat, fresh blood in here. Bobby Bonilla Day was July 1st. Now, not being a Mets fan, I have fun with Bonilla Day too. I always put up Happy Bonilla Day. But he's the one who gets wailed on this all the time, and the Mets for this contract. He gets $1.19 million a year deferred until 2035. You look at what the money in contracts for sports, that's nothing. Especially by 2035, that's definitely going to be nothing. So he's just got a nice little retirement contract going. Which got me thinking, who else has contracts like this? Ken Griffey Jr. The Reds pay him $3.6 million a year until 2024. He hasn't played since 2008. You don't hear about that since 2008, he's been getting paid $3.6 million a year. No one says boo about that. Manny Ramirez still gets over just $2 million a year until 2026 from the Red Sox. Jim Edmonds last played in 2010. And the Cardinals gave him $3 million a year until just a couple of years ago in 2019. Yet there was no Jim Edmonds Day. It's all Bonilla with his 1.19. Brett Saberhagen of the Mets. Mets still gave him $250,000 a year until 2029. Again, what's $250,000, especially now to Len? Nice little pocket change for Saberhagen. The Colorado Rockies paid $13.1 million of the money they owed Todd Helton over a span of 10 years, starting in 2014, at 3% interest. So since he retired, he's getting the rest of that contract at 3% interest. Yeah, over a 10-year span. So where's Todd Helton Day? Matt Holliday will receive $1.4 million and $1.6 million on each July 15th from 2020 to 2029, or receive between 1.4 and 1.6 million. No Matt Holliday Day. Ichiro. Here's how his contract ended up. This is from 2007. The Seattle Mariners will be paying Ichiro Suzuki for at least a quarter century. Defer the team's $25 million of his $90 million he was owed. The team will not have to pay the full payday till at least 2032. Seattle will pay $12 million in salary each year and defer $5 million per season at 5.5% interest. Ichiro Suzuki, who turned 33 in October, back in 2007, will receive the money in annual installments on each January 30th, starting the year after his retirement from the major leagues. Yet there's no Ichiro Suzuki Day. Congratulations to Mississippi State, who beat Vanderbilt, the team I picked to win the College World Series. This happened when we were on our holiday break there. So, yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. But just wanted to give congrats out to Mississippi State on their championship. Teams are back at full capacity. A's are one of the best teams in the West. They announced a crowd of 4,739 for their first game with no capacity limits. And you want to know why they're moving to Vegas. The Olympics. Before I get on the bad news for the Olympics, the Olympic baseball team was announced. It was kind of the same rosters we had before on there, some ex-major leaguers, some AAA names on there. So just as you're watching the baseball on the Olympics, just kind of note some of these names. You might see them in the majors in a couple years. Not saying they're going to be the All-Stars in a few years. Heavens no. Hopefully a lot of them will be, but ex-major leaguers, current major leaguers coming up. Keep an eye on that. Leading to my soapbox. Little Miss Richardson here. Banned for 1 month for THC and will miss the Olympics 100 meter. This is where I got a problem. I have no problem that it's suspended her for drug use. No issue at all. You knew the rules, you broke them. Too bad. See you bye. Her excuse was, oh, there was a death in the family and I need to smoke marijuana to get over the loss of that. You're in the Olympics. You have the training facilities best in the world. I'm sure there's people there that would help you with it. Don't give me your excuses. Don't give me your sad stories. I don't care. Same rules for everybody. There's no asterisks. Can't smoke drugs. Oh, unless you lose a family member. No, you don't, period. Don't be dumb. And the U.S. women's soccer team. One of the games you can see here in this picture for those watching online, some were accused of turning their back on the flag. Their excuse was, oh, we didn't know which flag we were supposed to look at. I don't know about you. I've been to enough sporting events from high school, little league, all the way to the pros, where they all say, if you'll please look at the flag at the north end of the field or the east end of the stadium. They tell you where to look. And also, if you don't see other teammates looking the wrong way, don't you tap them on the shoulder and go, hey, genius, flag's over there. They cover this with the team before a game. You will look at the flag to our left. Oh, we didn't know which flag to look at. Liars. You're all a bunch of liars. I don't care about you. Hope you lose. If you hate our country so bad, don't play for Team USA in the Olympics. That's simple. There's a list full of people who want to, who love our country and want to play for it and represent them. Let them. Check your ego at the door and go away. Let's talk about some Minnesota people who are going to be in the Olympics, either residents or college students who are there. Good news. Bo Becker, swimming from the University of Minnesota. Listen for these names. You could say, hey, he's from Minnesota. Before I go through all these pictures and stats, courtesy of care11.com. Sport of climbing, which is kind of a new sport. She's from St. Paul, went to the University of Minnesota. Kira Condi. So keep an eye for her if they show that sport. Minnesota girl. Laura Durnham-Wise, sailing from Shoreview. Sailing is this is one of those sports that you only watch in the Olympics, and it's one of those that it intrigues me for the 3 days it's on there, that rowing and stuff, but I could not watch it year round, but it's kind of fun to watch in the Olympics. Track and field, Mason Furlick from St. Paul, local boy. Okay, Joe Clucker, track and field from Minneapolis, Hopkins High School. Here's from the Hopkins Twitter account from June 24th. Hopkins will have 2 alumni to cheer on during the Olympics in Tokyo. Joe Clucker will represent the USA in the 10,000 meter, and Joe Followong will compete for Liberia, the nation of his family's heritage. So, yeah, a couple guys there from Hopkins High School. Sun Lee, gymnastics. I follow her. She made the cut for gymnastics from St. Paul. Nice little young girl, Miss Lee. Watch for her in gymnastics. And also Grace McCollum, gymnastics from Isanti. Also, she was given the opportunity for the Minnesota Vixen women's football team. She's going to be their honorary captain coming up, too, before she heads off to Tokyo. So congratulations to her and good luck in Tokyo. Peyton Otterdorf, track and field from Rosemont. There he is doing the shot put. Never a good picture of a shot putter. Them and javelin. It's like a pitcher in baseball. You never really get a good action picture of them. But there he is. Good luck to Peyton. Regan Smith, swimming from Lakeville. Very excited to see her go. She's going to be very good medal contention possibilities. My prediction. Gabriel Stevens in wrestling, Apple Valley, University of Minnesota, NCAA champion. So you will see him go very far in the Olympics. Big horse, big man, nice guy. So watch for him. Patrick Soderholm, rifle shooting from Farmington. A picture off his Twitter account. So there he goes for rifle shooting out of Farmington. Patrick Soderman. Jordan Thompson, volleyball from Edina. So don't know if she'll be starting or bench. Didn't see her status of where she is on the roster, but listen for her name. U.S. volleyball is always in contention there, so you'll see a lot of her. Along with Elise Wahlberg, BMX racing from St. Cloud. So BMX racing, kind of you'd think it was an export game. Some of these are kind of coming over the regular Olympics, so keep an eye for her. And Shane Waskis, gymnastics, Spring Park, University of Minnesota. We mentioned him a few times on the show before with how the Gopher men gymnastics program got cut, so you got to get more time to prepare for the Olympics. Worked out for him. And this one just today, Sarah Grunwegen of Gophers, softball pitcher. She'll be pitching for Team Canada in women's softball. So congratulations to her. Concerts coming up. For those of you on YouTube, here's a picture of the last live show Dan and I did together with our fans. Hairball, Cruise for the Troops after party, Saturday the 25th of September. Route 65 Pub and Grub, 3 to 11. Some other bands with our Crown Jewels there. One, which is a Metallica tribute band. So it'll be a fun time there. Here it is, concert for the cause, Saturday, September 25th, Route 65 Pub and Grub. Hairball's headlining. The Only One tribute to Metallica. Crown Jewels, a Queen tribute band. All the information's on our Facebook page, or you can also go to Route 65 Pub and Grub, their website, to get more. Tickets are $40 general admission or $100 for VIP. For more information, it's www.iwproject.org. This helps to go with families dealing with mental issues, PTSD, and suicide issues. Awareness for them, Minnesota-based. Legacy of the Loud, we've kind of pimped them a lot here on the show. Here's some of their upcoming shows. Max Bar in Ham Lake, Saturday. These are old dates, so I'm going over. They were there in June. They were at Ziggy's in June. The Legion Forest Lake, a Wheeler Bar in Brainerd, early July. Breezy Point in July. Coming up, Jackpot in Morton, the 9th and 10th. Route 47 in Fridley on July 16th. Minnesota Music Cafe in St. Paul on the 23rd. And Main Street Bar in Hopkins on the 31st. Legacy of the Loud. Check them out on our Facebook page. We push their stuff a lot. Or follow them yourself. Pretty good cover bands. I enjoy them. Nice group of guys. Speaking of a nice group of guys, here's Hairball. Here's some more of their dates coming up. This is all off their page. July 14th, Red River County Fair. There's July 16th in Iowa, Mason City. Edgerton in Minnesota. Minot, North Dakota, July 18th. For those of you out of the metro area, they're in Ohio, Pennsylvania. A couple stops coming up for them. Not just they're local based, but they do travel around the country. Then they go to Alaska. God bless them going to Alaska. August 6th, St. Michael, North Dakota. Spirit Lake Casino Resort. August 7th, Mankato. So they make the big drive that night. North Dakota to Mankato. God bless them for that. Then the Sioux Falls the next day. Love on a Bus. They will be in Sturgis this year at the Iron Horse Saloon. For those of you going to Sturgis, could see Hairball there for 3 days. 13th, they're in Nebraska. Back August 15th, Des Moines, Iowa, at the Iowa State Fair. We don't have it listed here, but speaking of the state fairs, Minnesota State Fair, September 4th, George Thorogood and the Destroyers. Buck Hill, the Buck Concert Series. Rick Springfield, the special guest. Arch Alley's cover band, rock band, so that's pretty good there. And for some reason, they're still pushing Vince Neil. I have not heard if he's going to make it or not. He's got a couple opening acts there with him. Yeah, if you buy Vince Neil tickets, make sure you get money back if he cancels. And then teamhappybenefit.com, something we posted a while ago. Otsego, Minnesota, Sunday, August 22nd. There's going to be a benefit concert for Happy of Hairball. Happy's been fighting cancer for 3 years now. Still doing this thing going out there. So he's still toughing through it all. I don't think there isn't anyone listening who wasn't personally or doesn't know someone who's gone through that hell of going through cancer and cancer treatment. So be a good time. Lots of other cover bands are there. If you go to teamhappy.com, also we'll be putting it on our Facebook page a lot, supporting it. So if you're in that area, it's a Sunday afternoon. Should be kind of fun to go to. Good times will be had by all. Or most of us. We'll have a good time. That's what I got, sir, for concerts. Again, Medina is opening up to some other things. Mostly they're Thursday concerts. They don't have a lot of weekend stuff booked right now. So just keep checking Medina Entertainment's website for that. Do you have any more sports stuff to add, sir?
No, I just wanted to say, that tribute band One from Metallica would be good to see. I've never seen them.
Yep.
Uh, that would be very interesting.
Interesting.
It would be tough to cover Metallica at all. That's I think why there's only
Right.
one.
That's a interesting thing
It's a
there,
tough
but
that's a tough nut to crack. Also, former Twin Eduardo Escobar in the All-Star game leads the league in RBI.
yeah. Oh, the fun. All the shoulda, coulda, woulda. You see, like you said, all the ex-Twins that are there. It's kind of like the thing you see all the time. Tiger fans putting up. At one time, the Tigers had Justin Vanderlei and Max Scherzer.
Yes.
You look at the old Tigers pitching staff. They had a bunch of stud pitchers at one time. Gone. Look at the Mets. Got rid of a lot of pitchers at the end of the year. Zach Wheeler, Steven Matz. Wheeler's up there for numbers. Matz coming back from COVID and stuff. Having a fairly decent year. So that's the one position you don't ever know. Speaking of trading players, trivia answer, sir.
The Minnesota Twins had an overabundance of outfielders beginning of the season. So much so, and they needed some pitching help. They elected to trade one of our outfield prospects this year in return for some pitching. Now, as the season has progressed to the halfway point due to injuries, the Twins don't have many outfielders. They're using Nick Gordon, a full-time infielder coming up through the minors, in center field. So it's kind of it's frustrating because they had all this talent and injuries on and off. They ended up trading one. The player's name was Lamonte Wade Jr.
A fan favorite, if I recall.
He came up and the fans liked him, a fast outfielder. He played first base in college, so he came up to the Twins as a versatile guy. And now he went to the Giants, and the reason they brought him up from AAA was because their first baseman, the regular first baseman, was hurt. So he started up as first base. The guy's got 7 homers now, and doing very well for the number 1 Giants. So that the answer is Lamonte Wade Jr. Looking back now, hindsight, of course, he would have been awesome to have in this mix with the Twins this year in the outfield. But hindsight is 2020, and we needed pitching, so off he went, and we got a pitcher in return. I think it was Sean Anderson that we got. But great trivia question. We look for him in the possible postseason for the Giants.
All right. What is in your cassette player in the car there in mobile unit 1 that you're listening to today?
Well, I'm up north camping in New London, Minnesota, out west, and so I jumped into town here to do the show. Don't get good reception there at the campsite. I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see. The album of the week is Rat, Invasion of Your Privacy. Invasion of Your Privacy. Here it is. Invasion of Your Privacy is the second album by American glam metal band Rat. Released in 1985 and featured the singles Lay It Down, You're in Love, What You Give Is What You Get. Bo Hill produced the album, and the cover model is Marianne Gravate, former Playboy Playmate of the Year, who also made an appearance in the band's music video called Lay It Down. Lay It Down. And I had to look her up to get some stats on her, Andy. And she was the Playmate of the Year 1983. And the reason they picked her for the album and for the cover is Stephen Pearcy, lead singer. After this Centerfold and the Playboy Playmate of the Year came out, he says, I want her to be on the album cover and to perform in a music video as my girlfriend in the song Lay It Down. So he did. He got connections. Rat was coming off their big album, their first debut album, and they had connections.
Yes.
Some street cred, and he says, you know what, I want to get her, and sure enough, she obliged, went on. Now, the interesting thing is here, she got out of modeling shortly thereafter in her career, and she and her current husband run a sports bar right now, and she's the mother of 3 boys aged 22, 20, and 18, I believe. She's a mom of 3 boys. Imagine the friends and the buddies there of those boys knowing who their mother was.
Stacy's mom comes to mind right away.
So remember, Playmate of the Year, 83. They did this album in 85. Now, guess who was the Playmate of the Year in 1982 that preceded her that I found on Wikipedia? The 1982 Playmate of the Year was Shannon Tweed.
Look at that.
Look at that. Gene Simmons' wife from Kiss, Playmate of the Year in 82. Playmate of the Year in 83 is Marianne Gravate. So anyways, that's where she came from. This album, here's the track listings. Track 1, You're in Love. Track 2, Never Use Love. Track 3 is Lay It Down. That was their first single release. That was released June of 85. That's the one where she also appears in the music video. Song 4 is Give It All. Song 5, Closer to My Heart. Song 6, Between the Eyes. Song 7, What You Give Is What You Get. Song 8, Got Me on the Line. Song 9, You Should Know by Now. And song 10, the popular Dangerous But Worth the Risk. So this entire album's 36 minutes. They call it glam metal. It's pretty good. These are quick albums, a little more than a half hour long to listen to them all. No love ballads. They're all rock songs. This was released June 13th, 1985. Now the band, the roster, Stephen Pearcy, still around today. Lead vocals, Warren Crosby, lead guitar, along with Warren P. Martini. And the bass was Juan Crucier, and Bobby Blotzer on drums. Bobby Blotzer. This album went double time platinum, 2 times platinum. Good stuff. Rat always was good in the artistic department there with their album covers. Who was on the first album cover was
Tawny Katane.
Tawny Katane on their first album. So they knew how to, they were an LA band, Hollywood band. They knew how to get their contacts to appeal to the young male audience demographic.
Yes. Tawny Katane was dating Warren Crosby at the time.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So it, of course, it all appeals to the junior high male demographic, basically, in the high school.
Yes, it did. Being a junior high male at that time, yes, they did.
They appealed directly to that, and we thank them for that.
Yes,
it's good stuff. So that's the album of the week this week. 2 times platinum. It was their second album. After this, they went on to record Dancing Undercover, and they progressively kind of just tailed off. Their first 2 were really, really good.
There was a lot of issues in the band after Dancing Undercover. So, and be careful when you see a Rat tribute band out there, or when someone says that it's the Rat out there. It's probably only 1, maybe 2 members of the band. They had a lot of legal issues. Who gets copyrights to the name? Those of you who watch a lot of TV, they all got together for the Progressive Insurance video. The 4 surviving members were in that. And that's like the only time they got together. They did that afternoon shoot and then parted ways again. It wasn't one of those, hey, maybe they'll all get together for commercial and reunite and tour. No, they did the commercial, got their paycheck, and went to the bank with it, But they all are still touring with other bands or trying to get under the name Rat. All very good musicians. I know there was Coe had the drug issues, like most bands had that going on. Stephen Pearcy, his voice still holds up pretty good, I think, today. If you get a chance to catch any of them or just listen, they're a fun band to listen to still. They still hold true, I think, today.
Good stuff. Easy listening music. Easy to listen to. But that's all I got for the album of the week. We've got the All-Star game coming up Tuesday, and
yes,
baseball season halfway done. It's going to be interesting now. Now, when's the trade deadline?
I think it's end of the month, end of July, and then you can still trade in August, but you gotta clear some waivers to make playoff rosters or something. Which I don't know how different that's going to be now coming up, if they're going to change the rules for that or not. But because of
amateur baseball,
the COVID excuse or stuff like that or not, I don't know.
Amateur baseball news: the Waconia Lakers, a local team here, Class C, still ranked number 1 in the state. New rankings came out. Undefeated in conference play, will be the number 1 seed in the postseason. They've already clinched that. They have 2 losses overall in the season, non-conference games. Both losses are to higher class teams. A loss to Chaska Class B, and a loss just this week to Class A St. Louis Park. So that's their only 2 losses. One to a Class A team, one to a Class B team. Other than that, they beat everybody, and they're fun to watch. Another note, if you're a follower of the Loretto Larks, Class C amateur baseball, Corey Koskie plays for them. He homered the other night. He plays with his 2 sons. I covered that a little bit on my midweek show as well, but his 2 sons are on the team. One plays at St. Cloud State, and one is committed to Augustana for next season to play for the Augustana Vikings. So the good team there, Loretto Larks, but Corey Koskie playing as the DH.
Yeah, I saw that on the Twitter there and put that out.
That's pretty good. That's all I've got for sports this week.
You mentioned how Wacone's had the 2 losses this year. One was that game to Chaska that went like 18 innings or something, wasn't it?
17 innings, yes.
Okay.
Lost by 1 run in 17 innings to the Chaska Cubs. And St. Louis Park, they beat them, I think, 11-6. St. Louis Park is actually good. They're ranked number 4 in the state for Class A. And they picked up a pitcher this season that was a longtime Plato Blue Jay. They got Chris Odegaard, former Mankato State Maverick, and also Arizona Diamondback minor league guy is who they've got. And I think they're going to be tough. St. Louis Park will be tough.
Yeah,
that's all I've got.
We had last week's show was a little special show. We did our top 5 Kiss guitarists. Our lists differed, but that's why we didn't do them at the same time, so we wouldn't be bantering off each other for it. I thought it was a pretty interesting list. The Kiss documentary was on last week.
Oh yes, I've got to see that. Part 1 is released and part 2 is not yet released, right?
Part 2 was the next day.
Well, it was. It's out now.
Yeah, you have to go check it on your on demand.
On demand.
And I've been a Kiss fan as far as I can remember. I didn't learn that much new stuff over it. Being a fan, I've heard all the stuff before, so it wasn't that big shocking details to me. Yeah. I could see where some people get off, like Ace gets off. I could see who gets off saying Paul and Gene are egomaniacs. I get where you could say that, but not being an apologist for them, they kind of have the right to be. Every member that's ever been with that band has a lot of talent. No one backed in because they were friends of somebody, except Tommy Thayer. They all earn their spots on there. They're all great in their own ways. It's just rock and roll's rock and roll. I heard at one time, they never brushed on this in there. Gene talked about it one time when him and Paul stepped back. They want to sell the name Kiss to the next group that goes in, so Kiss can still live on, but without those 2 in it. So now this was said years ago when, look at a lot of the Motown bands that are out. Oh, you can see the Temptations at Mystic Lake. There ain't one member of the Temptations left in that band. And I think that this was years ago, so I think that's what Gene was looking at is, hey, if the band still goes on, we can't do this forever. Who do we have to do it? That kicked around, and my love for Kiss deteriorated after they reunited and went back and makeup. I just kind of really, do it 1 year if you want for a tour or 1 album, but the way they still wear the makeup now, I got a problem with that. You're in your 70s, we don't care. And yeah, they've always kind of played Sign of the Times, meaning there was a lot of rip on Kiss. Did they do a disco album? Well, they've always kind of said, we just kind of played the sound of the day, In the 80s, they were kind of lost because everybody was going with that glam look. Gene looked so out of place in bright colors. He just looked lost. Now, Paul and Bruce pulled it off pretty good, but Gene just kind of looked lost. Gene could have just came out in like jeans and a t-shirt and been fine. If they would have just gone with that look instead of trying to get the bright fancy colors, I don't know if they would have gone back to the makeup so easy. Kind of like they did for the Revenge album with their leathers and stuff like that. If they could have gone that way the whole time, I think Gene would have been okay not going back to makeup. But
and because they've been around for so long, there's so many good memories and good things they did. There's so many bad memories and bad things they did as well. As far as for people, there's a whole inventory of bad things for people who want to rip on. There's huge amounts out there because they've been around for so long.
Yeah, because they've still done a handful of albums since they've just toured, but you never hear the songs because no one cares. With Spotify now and online music and everything else, you don't hear bands with new albums anymore. They just kind of quietly sneak out there. I mean, no offense, we talked about it here. Alice Cooper does a new album. It's the number one album for album sales. Alice Cooper at 70 years old had the number one album? Really? And that's the rip on Alice. That's just saying having the number one album in 1960 or 1980 is different than having the number one album now.
Correct.
You hear all these.
No, Andy, I just listened to that. I just listened to that again the other day. And that's really growing. That's a very good album, Alice Cooper, Detroit Stories.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you hear all these new artists. I can't even think of their names. The pop rock guys, rap guys, whatever. Oh, they broke the record for most single or most weeks at number one that the Beatles had. You're not talking apples to apples. You're talking online sales compared to radio listening. Yeah. So they say, oh, they broke the record for most weeks at number one. It's not the same. That's like saying, well, we were number one in Class A and we were number one in Class 5A. Not the same for most consecutive weeks. You're talking different. And I'm not putting you down for having number one album right now. Congratulations. How you were number one compared to how the Beatles did it in the 60s or other groups in the 80s, Michael Jackson in the 80s, was different than you do now. If Michael Jackson's Thriller album came out now with downloads and everything else, he'd blow all these records away. My opinion.
The only thing for sports that I've got left is now we're in July and we're going to have NFL training camp. People reporting later in the month here, teams reporting NFL is going to be going into high gear here by the end of the month. Exhibition games. Remember, 3 exhibition games this year, 18 regular season games.
17.
Okay, 17 regular season games, 3 exhibition preseason. So we're going to be hearing a lot about that coming up here in the weeks ahead.
Lots of fun. Might see some more trades here and there for the NFL. As guys get injured, guys aren't panning out. You'll see some other stuff. I saw a list they showed on one website of the 12 teams of number one in Super Bowl who's got the best shot at doing it, and had the Vikings at 5.
Okay.
Buffalo was 1, Cleveland was 2.
Okay.
Teams have never won a Super Bowl. So
nice. Yeah, Buffalo.
Yeah, that's like we said with the NBA Finals. It'd be nice to see some new blood in there. Yeah, Tampa Bay won it last year with Tom Brady. Well, Tampa Bay's only won it once before, but Brady's won a dozen of them, or been there a dozen times. So it kind of wasn't a new team,
Sure.
So it'd be nice to see a team that's never won it before. Vikings, Bills, 0-4 against 0-4. That'd be kind of interesting. That'd be interesting to see. But, like I said, this week we went over league leaders for stats. We'll start keeping an eye on that more. We'll watch the wild card race more, along with the divisional races.
I like the Triple Crown. Vlad Guerrero up there, really doing well.
Yeah, outside chance of Triple Crown. I'd like to see it. It'd be kind of cool to see. Be very interesting. deGrom still setting records. If you get a chance to see him on, and here's the way: you don't need to have the major cable. YouTube shows a free game a week. You can sign up for MLB.com. They show 1 free game a day. Somewhat different all the time, but maybe you could bump into a Mets game there and see deGrom pitch, or just see other teams, see the rest of the league pitch. Because if you base it just on what ESPN is showing, you're going to see the Yankees or the Red Sox against somebody. It's just kind of boring. So YouTube always has a game on there. Other streaming outlets, just keep looking. You'll find games out there for free. Along if your local team's not doing well like ours. One side note I didn't have mentioned on a graphic here. Our friends, the Seattle Kraken, have hired 2 assistants to work. Some complaints are people are like, well, we've never heard of these guys. Well, that's a good thing. Because you only hear their name in the news if they do something bad or stupid. If they've been in the league this long and they're up that high, and you've never heard their name, they're getting their job done. But now they're moving up higher, more dirt might be dug out, you never know. That goes to any sport. Just because you hire a coach, you never heard him, doesn't mean that's a bad thing. If you've never heard his name, that could be a good thing.
It will be interesting.
Home Run Derby this week, also Tuesday. Thursday for my show, I'll kind of recap both of those and see how they went.
Awesome. That's all I've got.
All right. See you guys
Have
later.
a good
Thanks.
week, everybody. Thanks.